We have been running Safety Meet now for 3 years. The first year was a focus on fire safety, mainly RoRo and lithium-ion batteries, etc. Last time was alternative fuels for the ship itself and various safety aspects of that. And this year, the focus has been crew. We put the crew in the center, and we discuss a little bit about that. What are the conditions on board for crew to be able to make a good preparational work with safety and to act in a good way once it comes to a emergency situation? So we have just finalized the seminar, the main seminar of Safety Meet in the F Hall, with 3 sessions handling those topics. And in this session, we will spin a little bit about that, give you some overview of glimpses of what was said, and put another layer on it and connect it to the HR side. How can we make this complex and challenging world an attractive workplace? So with me on stage today, we have Jan-Erik Alsen, Senior Master in Stena Line, Rachel Glynn Williams, and Hannah Mahafni of Admare Shipping. So, any reflections from today in general, Hannah?
So the whole morning was actually really inspiring because most of us all had the exact same focus, the same keywords, the same ideas, and the same ways to kind of move forward. That we need to work on, communication, psychological safety, and yeah, overall it was a really good morning where we all felt like we're going the same way, which can definitely only mean something good. So I thought that was very positive.
Rachel?
I would totally agree. It was so refreshing to hear people talking about relationships, connection with crew and with ship and shore. I think one of the things that sort of struck me listening to Eric Hornell's account of the Stena Imperio situation was just about outcomes. He mentioned that one of the things that he noticed was that there was anyone who was on board that ship also returned to sea as well. There was nobody who dropped out, nobody who went off sick or away for any particular length of time. And so it made me think about what are the best outcomes? How can we measure success when we're thinking about relationships and doing what's best for crew?
So, Jan, was there anything in particular you would say was useful on the crew side that was said this morning?
Yes, I also start to. I agree with the ladies here about the morning. It was really refreshing to hear everything, especially every nice word about the crew. And yes, I think I will rephrase Rachel there that Erik Hornell's presentation was really nice. And the procedure and the handling right after how the handling, when the families met the families, the family met the crew, it was really uplifting story, I must say, and a really nice, so to say, the checklist he showed was really nice.
Coming back to you, Rachel, in general, do you think that shipping is ready for what we are faced with out there, including the, let's say, internal challenges with the daily work and external factors?
I think there are certainly companies and elements within the industry who are very ready, very willing, very able, very open to progressing with the support for crew and for looking at that side by side with the challenges. Only last week, myself and my colleague Terry Ogg from Recall Recover, we were working with this excellent company, had a difficulty on board, but they were exceptionally open and willing to improve things. It's a breath of fresh air. I spoke in my presentation about a particular company who struggled with that, and so I think that's going to be reflected throughout the industry. There's some willingness and some readiness, but it's not homogenous by any means. I do wonder if it starts to reflect the workforce, if we start to struggle to recruit and to retain, it might mean that some of our more exclusively commercial-minded company colleagues may start to come alongside by default afterwards. So So hopefully it's an evolution. It's a marathon, not a sprint by any means.
So now turning to you, Hannah, here with $1 million question. Given the very complex situation we have on the safety side with conditions, daily conditions that put, let's say, boundary conditions for safety work, cultural issues and challenges on board, and external threats, how can this, in all, be an attractive workplace?
It really is $1 million question, which I don't have the exact answer to, but hopefully we can work together by sharing these kind of experiences with each other to get closer to that kind of answer to that. But at the same time, I think the main point is even all of these blurbs around us, we still have on the top, attractive workplace. So what makes an attractive workplace anywhere? It's that you have a good support system. You have people feeling, that you have a good team on board together. You're not alone, which is a big thing. You're not alone in your problems. When you're a crew on board, you're facing these kind of problems head on and together. So kind of try to support that teamwork on board, but also support, it can be about anything. It doesn't have to be about, the disaster that's striking. We can talk about it prior. We can talk about how you feel about something or, So just try to keep that open communication. And of course, we want to maintain that the attractive workplace. You were telling me yesterday that it's awesome being a seafarer. And so I think we need to show that more and more, that this is actually a extremely cool part, of transport overall. You get to see the world, you get to meet new people, and you get the opportunity to sail on some of these kind of vessels that, we didn't even think that were going to be built many years ago. So I think you just keep focusing on that this is a workplace like any other. And once you have that kind of team, both onshore and aboard, then you can do it together. So you're never alone.
Rachel, any comments from you?
Yeah, thank you. I think it is about openness and transparency. We know that sometimes those first trip cadets drop out when they suddenly realise that it's not as billed, and so we need to have that honesty. I think also we need to look at the fact that whilst there are risks and there are dangers inherent in shipping, it's not the only profession that has similar but different challenges. I was considering, in my line of work in mental health, it's very risky every day to be working sometimes in some of our more challenging mental health units in prisons and certainly in the military. So, we still recruit. We still have people in these professions knowing that those risks exist. And as Hannah's saying, it's about being prepared. It's about having those connections, noticing what the good bits are, and being able to prepare and respond and help people recover if and when that happens. And it's also bolstering the good stuff as well, making sure that we're paying people right and looking after people in the job so that they can really realise and the benefits of being in these varied professions.
We can mention what was mentioned by Erik Cornell in the seminar before from the Impero case, where all of the crew that was involved in that situation is sailing and was sailing instantly again. And there was this particular case with this cadet who signed on, if it was not just 6 hours before the seizure happened. And then he was the first one out again. So that is a sunshine story of how fast it can be for him.
And I think in the research back in 2019, before COVID hit, the Yale study showed that even when people had been through difficult times, there'd been physical and emotional injury, what the difference between their recovery and otherwise was how successfully caring they thought their company was. So it pivoted on a relationship again, and this, it's so reassuring to hear that echoed through the room this morning. And probably beyond as well, not just our room.
Okay, Jan-Erik.
I will follow Hannah's lead there and just talk about how attractive this profession and this business actually is. Like I said before, I'm starting to ending up the career, and I have to pinch my arm more or less every day. Due to the fact that I have the opportunity to be a sailor for all my life. And I think that is the key to really of course, you can highlight the danger, but more like challenges. And of course, when you are exposed for these challenges and do it together as a team, as Hannah says, I mean, it's an amazing feeling when you can overcome. And of course, to be kidnapped or hijacked, that is, of course, another ball game. But in the normal, other than that, I mean, the business is very, very nice and extremely, I would say it should be the most attractive thing that exists. I have a brother that works in one professional football club. And we often talk about this, and I say the closest you can get to be a professional football player is to be a sailor. And the good part is you can be a sailor all your life, football players, and maybe 5 to 10 years. So I say, if you want to be a professional football player or miss out there, take to be a sailor instead. So yeah, we will spin on that.
Really good. Okay, so you all work with safety from various angles, and to tie it up a little bit and come back to the safety track, just in a few words, like the million-dollar question again. What is the most important thing for us in the industry and on board to keep us safe?
I would say the perfect combination of a well-functioning, SMS system, procedures, checklists, but then also with what we were talking about this morning, a work environment that really fosters that people can, even give us improvement suggestions, that we're never stagnant. It's always moving forward. That you listen to your crew, you have a good system as a backbone, but then you can propel forward to make updates, change your way of working, and be open to that kind of, critique, or also, just overall improvement. So I would say that that's, the goal, to keep going forward and really not trying to stagnate in the same place, because shipping isn't what it is 30 years ago. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Would you agree that investments done, let's say, in confidence and preparedness and so on, not only pays off in terms of safety, it pays off also in the daily operations, because it's basically a good team is a good team in an emergency situation and in daily work?
I would agree so completely that it's off the charts, that you can see that, when crews are working together, even just in drills, when I've been on board and watching these kind of drills, you can tell they're almost having fun with it. This is great. This is a competition. We are going to find that stowaway, or, we're going to not light the fire. Sorry, we're going to put out that fire. So it's really refreshing to see when you have that kind of good workplace and good work-life environment and balance on board, that this is a team endeavor. We're doing this together. We can do this kind of atmosphere, and always finding room to do something better. You're having your colleague fix your boat. So you don't have, you have your equipment on correctly. That's the dream. That's the goal to see. I can imagine that's the perfect crew.
Rachel?
Yes, certainly. I think it's that. When you just illustrated that, then it just felt so nurturing. And together, it's like that kind of, just that ideal supportive. Don't want to say the F word, but family. That idea of just being part of something that's bigger than its parts. I'm not been to see, but it must feel amazing to be part of that system. I think. The other thing that is about, obviously about teamwork, about relationship, but it's also about your relationship with yourself as well. One of the things that I mentioned very briefly earlier on is people having purpose and being connected to their why. They're there, with this team, this crew we were working with last week. Dreadful things happen, but they were saying, no, this is great. I want to be a seafarer. I want to continue to be a seafarer. I want to come back to this vessel as a seafarer because it means something to me. It means something to my family. I want to be with these guys again. It means something to me that I earn money and I can see my sister-in-law going to college on the back of that, or it resonates with my faith. I think there's lots of different reasons why people continue to go to sea, despite and perhaps because of sometimes some of the challenges. So I think that does filter through into people's well-being on board, well-being between trips, and also into safety and security procedures and willingness and ability to engage with them.
Super. So finally, Jan-Erik, you are, let's say, you and your team and similars across the world fleet. You are the target for this whole discussion and so on. In your words, what is needed to keep us safe out there?
Yeah, just to repeat what the girls here are saying. To keep up the good working environment, and also make it clear for everybody that everybody counts. We're using these metaphors, me and Matthias, all the time, but I reckon it's like a cake, and everybody has a piece of that cake to chip in. And if not everybody chip in this cake, it won't be a cake. So I really think that it's positive to speak in metaphor, but you really have to involve them all to realize, and that could be tricky, especially when you have a drill. It's quite easy if you are a firefighter or whatever. Not that easy to evacuate a vessel that is already empty. So to get all departments involved in the drills, and also explain even how small this piece of cake is, nevertheless is the same importance at the big piece. So I say, keep the crew involved, and make them stay curious and make them reflect.